How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. Today we're talking about Jash Chisum and DJ LeMahieu in an article that just came out from Chris Kirshner of The Athletic, really just saying, and direct quotes from Jash Chisum, that he wants to play second base. He thought that's where he was going to play. That's where he practiced all offseason. And they moved him to third. And the reason they moved him to third was so they could put DJ LeMahieu at second. And I feel like good teams, good decision making, when you have a player and their strong suit is whatever given position, could be left field, right field, second base, first base, whatever. You have a star player, you want to maximize their value, you put them in the position they're going to make the biggest impact, right? The Yankees have thrown Jash Chisum under the bus. They've forced him to move around. He has -4 defensive runs saved, -4 outs above average. He is struggling defensively there by the underlying advanced metrics. And listen, this is a guy who's an elite second baseman, and he's not playing second base, and it's because DJ LeMahieu is playing there. That is an inexcusable argument, inexcusable. The experiment has run its course, right? I understand maybe a couple weeks to see if it's the right decision, a couple weeks to see if Jazz was going to take the third base, and we know he has those big, crazy athletic moments. But the larger sample and obviously the routine stuff can sometimes get muddied because of those big moments. But Ryan, looking at the sample we've seen, the article, the quotes, we'll read you guys those verbatim in a minute here. How are you feeling about this infield right now? It feels like the Yankees are prioritizing a 30-year-old declining veteran who should not be starting over one of their best players, and they're compromising his mentality at the same time. And I feel like that is a recipe for disaster. And we're starting to see that kind of the cracks starting to show up, and he's starting to kind of voice his concerns now. And that, to me, if you're Aaron Boone, you got to solve that pretty quickly.
Yeah, let me make a couple of things clear. We are not talking about the New York Yankees or based on even just reports or based on what we believe they think. We're going based off what players and the organization themselves have said about the second base situation. Aaron Boone mentioned that he did not want Jash Chisum flip-flopping back and forth from second base and third base. He specifically wanted him at second base. He said that's why they opened up the job for third base. Jash Chisum said that in the offseason, the Yankees explicitly told him that he would be their second baseman and that he only worked at second base in the offseason. In spring training, the New York Yankees did not have Jash Chisum log a single inning at third base. So that is all to say, Alex, that Jash Chisum has not played third base. So before this rehab assignment, he played in Somerset. Jash Chisum had not played third base since the World Series. And then they bring him back from the IL and they ask him, hey, can you play third base for us? Because DJ LeMahieu needs to play second because that's his preferred position. That is where he believes he's best suited to help the Yankees right now. Now, I would not have a problem with this if the Yankees, let Jazz know that his versatility at second and third base was valuable and that they wanted to continue having him play both positions. Or even two, they could have told him, hey, we want you at second base, but just in case, let's get you some games at third base in spring training. It's just to ensure that if we need you to play here, you can. They did not prepare Jash Chisum to play third base. They lied to Jash Chisum, and you can draw direct parallels to what the Red Sox did with Rafael Devers. The fundamental difference being, or the two fundamental differences being, number one, the reaction from the player. Jash Chisum has handled this, beyond maturely. He's been a team first player. He's not trying to stir up drama. And number two, the Red Sox did it for Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman's a superstar. DJ LeMahieu sucks. He's awful. He's not good. -1 fielding run value at second base. I know defensive run saves likes him there, but he is not a good defensive second baseman. My eye test, I don't love the range at second. I think he just doesn't have the athleticism to play the position. And it's not like you have a young, spry first baseman playing first. You have Paul Goldschmidt playing first, who's also old in his late 30s. You need to put range next to Paul Goldschmidt. The Yankees have decided DJ LeMahieu must play second base. And you might go, well, Ryan, if they don't think he can play third base, he can't play third base. There's nothing they can do about it. Incorrect. Wrong again. The Yankees could have done something about it. They could have added a third baseman because there was nothing that stipulated that the New York Yankees needed to A, tell Jash Chisum to only play second, B, not allow Jash Chisum to play third during spring training and prepare him to play third, or C, and very importantly, there was nothing stipulated that the New York Yankees could not acquire a third baseman. Nothing at all. Nothing. There's no bylaw. There's no contract. There's no law that that bans the Yankees from adding a third baseman. This is not the NBA where if you're in the second apron, you physically cannot add more players. This is not the NFL where you have a salary cap. This is a sport with no salary cap. I'm not saying the Yankees should have paid $40 million plus the 110% tax for Alex Bregman. What I am saying is that you couldn't have signed like Yohan Moncada. You couldn't have, like if you truly didn't feel like Jash Chisum at second base was going to work out, or Jash Chisum at third base could be an option for you. If you truly ruled it out the way that they did in spring training, how were you prepared to roll with Cabrera, Peraza, and Vivas at third? Alex, the other question now I have for you is if Cabrera didn't get hurt, what were they going to do? Like, were they going to have Jazz play third on days that DJ LeMahieu played and then play him at second on days that Cabrera played? I don't. This just seems so out of left field. This is unpreparedness. This is sloppy. This is unbecoming of a World Series contender, and it is beyond irresponsible. I couldn't criticize them more for this action.
I mean, listen, DJ LeMahieu at best is a utility man. We're really missing Oswaldo Cabrera right now, to be honest with you. And it's not because he's this elite offensive player, but at least he can be a competent defensive player and make contact at all. LeMahieu, and I know he has a 250 average. The slugging, though, the power, it's not there. Like, he's completely out of gas. It's he's just hitting for contact and hoping the ball hits the gaps and whatnot. The infield right now is really struggling. Right, Goldschmidt's going through a cold stretch. Volpe's really having a hard time. LeMahieu is a non-factor, and Jash Chisum is picking them up by his bootstraps. And when you have a player that's picking up the unit by its bootstraps, putting them on his shoulders, it might be best to leverage that confidence and compound it, right? Like, now would be a great time to say, Jazz is like actually doing everything for this infield right now. Let's put him in a position to be even better. Let's maximize that value. Let's put him at second base where he can use that range a little bit more. You don't need as much range at third base. And I think LeMahieu would be fine. I think the defensive alignment would be better even. And that's kind of, where I question what the Yankees are doing now with this infield. But, you mentioned, could they have made additions? Probably. They didn't want to cross the 300 million threshold. That was evidenced by how they literally stopped at it. This trade deadline, they're going to add an infielder. They don't have a choice. If you want to maximize Max Fried's performance this year, you want to maximize, Aaron Judge, you want to put this team back in a World Series contention mode. You need an infielder that's going to hit for some power. We talk about Eugenio Suarez. Obviously, that would be a dream scenario, but we just don't know if he's going to be available. IKF, we don't like IKF. He's a contact-first guy, has no power. You have to go out and find someone that can hit for some pop. And I think that's going to be really hard for the Yankees, and they're not going to be able to go out and get a star reliever or a starting pitcher and a big-time infield bat. Like, they're going to have to compromise and say, like, what is our biggest problem right now? And, that's kind of what I find myself at a crossroads. It's like, what is their biggest problem? We talked yesterday about Yohan Duran. I just don't know if the infield or the bullpen is the biggest issue right now. I'm starting to think that, like, you can't head into a World Series or even a playoff game with LeMahieu starting, and behind him is Oswald Peraza. So, like, I think that infield might be our biggest need at this point. I think that finding a replacement for him, moving Jazz back to second base and finding a third baseman, I don't think there's a bigger need because, like, bullpen arms, they're volatile. You know what I mean? And once you get to the playoffs, Luis Gil could move to the bullpen. Clark Schmidt could be in the bull. You have other resources, but you don't have another resource at the infielder for the Yankees right now, Ryan. So I'm starting to think that a slugging infielder, second or third base, is the most prioritized need for this team right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think right now that's just where they're at. Their infield is a disaster. And Alex, over the offseason, we referred to it as nothing short of a failure if the New York Yankees failed to acquire an infielder. They had ample opportunity to acquire one. Their offseason plan for the infield is nothing short of a failure. It is a disaster. It is a catastrophe. And the New York Yankees went into the 2025 season vowing to be better defensively than they were last year. They lost Gleyber Torres. They are worse defensively in the infield than they were last season. They are woefully underprepared at third base with Jash Chisum, who did not play there again throughout spring training. They are unbelievably understaffed and cooked at second base with DJ LeMahieu at second, Volpe's experienced a defensive regression, and Goldschmidt, the burden on him range-wise is much greater at first than expected to be. I'm going to list off a pretty crazy stat for you, Alex. This blew my mind. Blew my mind when I saw it. I couldn't believe it. The discrepancy in infield, in the way the infield performed on ground balls and bunts based on the defensive alignment, with Jash Chisum at second, Anthony Volpe at shortstop, and either Oswald Peraza or Oswaldo Cabrera at third base, batters facing the Yankees had a 191 average on ground balls and bunts. The expected batting average was 245. For LeMahieu, Volpe, and Chisum, the current alignment we have, LeMahieu at second, Chisum at third, Volpe at short, that batting average has increased to 310, while the expected batting average has remained around, so I think it's 246. So it's roughly the same as where it was with the previous alignment. The eye test and the data back up what the same thing, which is that LeMahieu doesn't have the range to get the balls at second, and Jazz is not a good enough defender at third at this point in time because he's underprepared and not prepared to play the position, that they're letting ground balls sneak through. They're losing baseball games on this. They lost on Monday because Anthony Volpe made dumb throwing decisions. Then Jash Chisum had a ball go underneath his glove, a ball that a more stout defensive third baseman corrals with ease. A ball that even Oswald Peraza probably makes a grab at, throws to home plate. The Yankees fired at first. They get out of it, tie game. Cody Bellinger hits a solo home run. The New York Yankees walk away with a gutty, gritty 4-3 win and find themselves not really that upset about the Canada Day loss yesterday. Instead, the Yankees lose. And instead, as we found time and time and time again over the last 3 weeks, the Yankees are losing on dumb mistakes. And they're losing on weak ground balls and ground balls to the left side and ground balls to the right side. Ground balls that better defenders get to. They have a bad infield defense, Alex. You refer to DJ LeMahieu as nothing more than utility man. Where's the versatility? Where's the utility in the utility man? He only plays second. He doesn't play third. He doesn't play first. He's a second baseman. He's a second baseman who isn't a great defender, is one of the worst base runners in the sport, and doesn't hit. So what is he? He's not a Major League Baseball player. That's what it is. He is not a Major League Baseball player. And I find it deplorable, inexcusable, unacceptable that the New York Yankees are catering to DJ LeMahieu's needs and his needs over the team's needs and Jazz Chisum's preferences. One of these guys is a free agent in 1.5 years. I guess both of them are. One of them is someone you want to keep. One of them has been the only guy who's hitting with runners in score position. Not Judge, not Bellinger, not Rice, not Wells, not Volpe, not Stanton, not I'm trying to think, Grisham, not Dominguez. None of those guys. None of them. Only Jazz Chisum. Not Escara. Definitely not Peraza. Definitely not Oswald Peraza. One man is responsible for, I believe, is like 50% of their extra base hits with runners in score position and like a fifth of their hits in total with runners in score position since June 12th. That's the guy you can't accommodate for. You got to accommodate for DJ LeMahieu. Eric Hubbs of Barstool reported, and you can have your opinions on Barstool. I'm not going to voice them here. You can search up my Twitter account. He reported that, and this is real. This is not fake. He didn't just make this up. He's pretty good with this stuff. That the Yankees were going to cut DJ LeMahieu, but that Aaron Judge and Aaron Boone, they stepped in and like, hey, we can't do that. It's not going to, let's not do it. And instead, they placed him on the Phantom IL. This guy has to go. He has to go. Has to be off the team, off the roster, not on the New York Yankees. I'm sorry. This is disgusting. How do you as an organization lie to your second baseman about where he's going to play? And by the way, let go of Gleyber Torres and kind of kick him on the way out. Go, yeah, he didn't want to play third. LeMahieu didn't want to play third. LeMahieu told the Yankees he doesn't want to play third base. He told them, I want to play second base. I don't want to play third base. I want to play second. How about you should be grateful you have a job? Aaron Hicks got cut for doing what you did last year. Josh Johnson got cut for what you did last year. You have a job. Ellsbury's kicked out of the door for doing what you did last year. You have a job. Be thankful for it. You're on the Yankees still. Be thankful for it. And the worst part is not like the Yankees cutting him is going to cost them money. It's not like Judge just wants DJ to make his money. Guy's going to get paid regardless. I get it. There's pride in being a big leaguer. I'm not saying that, losing your job is fun, but he's still going to get paid. When people lose their job in the real world, they don't get paid. They don't make a dime. When guys get cut in the NFL, they don't make a dime. When guys get cut in the NBA, they don't make a dime. These are guaranteed contracts. This guy has to go. I'm sorry. If Gleyber Torres has to get criticized for not playing third base, why doesn't DJ get criticism for not playing third base? If the goal is to get better defensively in the infield, why are you still a bad infield defense with Gleyber Torres gone? The boogeyman's gone. The guy the reason why you're bad defensively is gone. I don't get it, Alex. I really don't. I really don't understand how we're at this point with the infield.
I mean, I think that the take you had that really resonates for me is that Gleyber Torres literally refused to play third base last year. And like you said, they kicked him on the way out. And I haven't looked at his stats recently, but the last time I checked, he was having a really, not a good defensive year per se, but a really good offensive season. I mean, what is he hitting? 284 with a 386. I mean, we would kill for that right now. Defensively, he's actually not even been that bad. Right now, what does he have? Let's see. He has -3 defensive runs saved and 0 outs above average. So he's slightly below average, but that's actually like good for Gleyber Torres.
It's better than Jazz at third. Jazz is
it's better than Jazz at third.
And -4 outs above average. If I'm going to have a bad defense, I want to mash. I want to hit.
Yeah, exactly.
1 through 9.
You need to have one or the other. DJ LeMahieu is not good enough defensively to be like, yeah, he's untouchable or even rostered, like you said. But I think that opinion is an interesting one. The fact that Gleyber Torres said, I'm not playing third base. I'm playing second base. And they kicked his ass right out the door. And then DJ LeMahieu says, who's way worse of a baseball player than Gleyber Torres, way like different freaking league worse, says, I'm not playing third base, I'm playing second base. And the Yankees say, okay, whatever you want, DJ. We owe you $30 million, whatever you want, DJ. No problem. Jazz, sorry, buddy. Suck it up. You're playing third base again where you're not going to be maximized. You're playing with people's futures. You're playing there. And Jash Chisum knows that, by the way. He is 2 years away from free agency. And he wants to put together and show that he's one of the best second basemen in baseball. He wants to have consistency. He wants that to be his position. He wants to leverage that. And the Yankees are forcing him to compromise his future and play out of position. And think about what that does. I mean, he's killing it right now offensively. But if you're having a tough time defensively, sometimes that hurts your confidence. And sometimes that can affect you in other ways. So, I really, not to mention this team has been struggling lately, obviously. And now players like Jazz, who has always been outspoken, the Yankees know that Jazz is outspoken. Look, it's different if you're like messing with a guy who like Cody Bellinger, like, can you play this spot? Can you play for space a little bit? Can you do this? You are messing with a player who is known for speaking his mind. The Yankees are messing around with the one guy that they actually should be worried about talking about it. You know what I mean? Nobody is worried about Cody Bellinger saying anything. Nobody is worrying about Aaron Judge saying anything. He'll do it internally. But they're playing with fire. And Jash Chisum is bursting at the seams right now. He is dying to say something that is going to incriminate him. You know what I mean? What he said to Chris Kirshner, it was a plea. He begged publicly for the Yankees to change his position without incriminating himself, without saying anything that was going to get him in trouble. He said all the right things and he said it all the right ways. But how long does that hold up? How long does he stay, just the basic PR responses before he gets pissed off like the rest of us are? Because the Yankees are committing malpractice defensively right now, and rostering a player like DJ LeMahieu. Now, if I'm Aaron Boone and I'm behind closed doors and Jash Chisum's in the office with me, I'm looking at Jazz and I'm saying, buddy, just wait out July. Wait out July. We're going to get a player to play third base and we're going to move you back to second base. We just don't have anybody right now. But on the flip side of that, I think the defensive alignment of DJ at third base and Jazz at second base is just better anyway. So I don't get why they don't just make that switch. And the only reason that we can possibly justify why they won't do it is because they're bending the knee to DJ LeMahieu. And why? Like, what does DJ LeMahieu have on the Yankees that they can't say no to him? That they can't say, dude, you are at the back end of your career. You suck. You were on the brink of being cut last year. We could cut you right now and it wouldn't even hurt us that much. Why on earth? What do they have on this team? What does he have against them that they're unwilling to do it? The metrics don't support that he should be playing there, Ryan. I mean, unless they have underlying metrics, advanced stats that we don't have, which I am sure they do. But everything that we can see, the range, the lack of it, the offensive, inconsistencies, I really just don't understand the decision-making of this team right now. Very, very difficult to rationalize. I think the Yankees are going to make a move at third base at the deadline. They're going to get an upgrade, and DJ is going to head to the bench as their utility man. And if I'm Jazz, wait out July. Don't say anything stupid. Survive until August, and you will probably get your second base job. If I could tell him anything, that's what I would tell him right now. If the Yankees don't execute that plan, I think he has every right to be pretty pissed off and verbally and publicly criticize the Yankees' decision making.
I would like to also add, when you talk about like how this affects Jash Chisum, you know whose money actually gets affected by this? Jash Chisum's. When the Yankees go to negotiate his arbitration salary, they'll say, yeah, you were overall like just a good defender, not a great one last year. Why do you deserve more money? You put up -4 defensive runs saved at a position. You're not that good of a defender. We're not going to give you that much money. That's what they're going to tell him. And this is how you burn bridges. This is how you burn bridges. This is how you incorrectly pick the guy you're going to prioritize. You prioritize Jash Chisum's need. Who cares if DJ LeMahieu's upset? You cut him. You cut him. You might go, well, Aaron Judge might not like that. He cannot. Where's his titles? Where are his World Series titles? For me to be like, oh, I got to treat him like LeBron James. Yeah, Derek Jeter. I'm sure Derek Jeter had some pull in the organization. He also had 5 World Series championships. I hate to sound like it's Tyler or nothing. I firmly believe the title World Series or bust mentality is outdated in the current landscape of the league, where there's more parity and more variance in the postseason. But man, I'm going to be old school on one thing. You better come with a fistful of rings, or at least have a ring on your finger, if you're going to start dictating what's going to happen, who's going to get cut. That's just my opinion on it. Like, I don't care about the opinion of a ringless player who isn't good anymore. I don't. I don't care about if Aaron Judge is upset about it. Go hit. I'm sure Jazz not happy about it, and he's hitting. There's one guy who's actually hitting in big spots. One guy. It's Jazz, not Judge. It's Jazz. At least this year. Yankees are in a slump right now. There's only one guy we've been able to turn to get big hits from. Again, it's not Aaron Judge. So if anyone's going to be upset, maybe be upset about your play. Maybe upset that you just blew a massive division lead. Jash Chisum shouldn't be upset about it. He's played brilliantly. He's done everything to help them make sure that they don't blow the division lead. Only guy on the team right now that should feel like his needs and his selfish and any selfish desires are well-founded. I guess on the position player side. Fried, Rodon, those guys, they're pitchers. I don't even think about the pitchers when I think about that stuff, because they're untouchable to me. They can do no wrong so far. I know Fried had a stinker yesterday. I don't care. Guy's got a 2-1 something ERA. I couldn't care less. Also, by a stinker, he gave up, 4 runs? Like, oh no. The Yankees had so many chances to put up like 5 or 6 before the game got out of hand. Again, like, you want to sit here and tell me about like all feelings and clubhouse vibes. If your clubhouse gets collapses because you lose DJ LeMahieu, like, you're soft. You're not built to win a World Series. And, that's the reality of it. You're just not built to win a World Series if that's the case. If you can't stomach putting, and people can go, well, DJ LeMahieu can't play third. Jazz can't play third. He hasn't played third. He sucks at third this year. I'd rather have a really good defensive second baseman and have a bad defensive third baseman than have a bad defensive third baseman and a shaky defensive second baseman. I don't see the logic. Alex, there's nothing that makes sense about this. Nothing. The only thing that makes sense, and the only thing we've been able to piece together based on reports and what we know, is that the Yankees came into the season unprepared for the infield, and when presented with a curveball, which was DJ LeMahieu saying, I'm not versatile, I'm only playing second base, oh, they were screwed. They didn't really have that. They didn't have that part of as part of their plans. That's what happens when you're unprepared. Luck is preparation meets opportunity, Alex. I firmly believe in that. Luck is not just happenstance. It is preparation meets opportunity. The Yankees were unprepared, and when they had something go wrong, as it always does every year with every team, they always lose someone of note, not just the Yankees, every team in baseball, they were unprepared. When Cabrera's ankle snapped, they were screwed. Second it happened, because we didn't get a third baseman, because we let an infielder walk without getting an infielder. Our answer was Pablo Reyes. Pablo Reyes sucks. He's gone. He's not even on the team anymore. So, look, it's balls in their court. I want Jazz at second as soon as today. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like, this isn't something I'm willing to let marinate till July 30th. Wait till No. I think Peraza stinks, but play him at third. Play Jazz at second. Show DJ that, like, yeah, you got to earn it. You're not that guy. You're not the guy who dictates where guys play. You play where you're told to play. That's where you're going to play. Or you can go on the nice waiver wire, let you go pass through waivers, and go take a vet minimum deal and play for the Colorado Rockies again. That's what he can do. Those are his options right now. So he can gladly take whichever one he wants.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, this is a very interesting situation. The Yankees have done this to themselves. And that's ultimately the reality is, like you said, they didn't go get an infielder. They lost one of their best offensive players and they replaced him with nobody. They lost Juan Soto. They got Cody Bellinger. I mean, they got Paul Goldschmidt, but Goldschmidt, he was an average player last year. Average. That is starting to look like the case this year as his numbers come, kind of crashing back down to earth. So now they have to spend to go get somebody. They're going to have to give up a really solid prospect, right? If they get Suarez, it's going to be a rental for the rest of the season, and they're going to have to give up a valuable player to get him. So it's going to be a sucky situation. We have to pray that George Lombard Jr. is ready to be an MLB player within the next 2 years. I mean, obviously next year would be great, but I don't want to rush him by any means. By 2027, though, you got to hope that he's ready. And I think that you then have to make a decision on Jazz's future. Are you going to extend him? Does he want to stay after everything? He's injury prone. Is that something you're willing to deal with? Would you go after somebody else, to replicate his production? Jazz is a great ball player. Like he's electric. He's a good Yankee. He's fun to watch. He steals bags. He's aggressive. I would like to see Jash Chisum a Yankee for a long time. Obviously barring any unforeseen further injury issues, but he deals with some stuff here and there. He comes back pretty fast, and knock on wood. I think that right now, looking at the situation, the deadline in a couple weeks is going to be critical. It's going to make or break the Yankees season. We all kind of recognize that now. It's just a matter of who they get. And listen, the playoffs, it's just going on a hot streak at the right time. The Yankees go get hot at the right time, and Aaron Judge plays like an MVP, and Stanton has a decent experience, and Bellinger stays hot. Jason Dominguez has been excellent lately. They can be okay. They will be okay. They will win games. They will make a push. It's all about picking it up though when it comes down to it. And this is mid-season stuff. I don't want to press the red alert just yet. They could regain their lead in the American League as fast as they just lost it. So until we are in September and we are being absolutely dragged, I'm going to give them a little bit of time to recover. I'm not going to press the DEFCON button right now. I'm going to wait, see, let's find out what moves they make at the deadline, and then we'll determine whether or not this team is going to, crash and burn or rise up and show us that this was just a bad stretch. So, that's kind of what I have to say about that right now. Inconsistencies are part of baseball. It's a large sample size after all. If they go on a hot stretch, that this recent sample in June will look a lot more tolerable. But that's just the game you kind of have to play with this to survive these moments. But guys, always happy to hear your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section about Jash Chisum, where he's playing. If you think he should move back to second base, drop a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify as always, if you are so kind. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.